Good morning. Welcome to It's Your Life Own It. My name is Marissa and I am your host. It is my desire to inspire you, get you motivated for the week. And I have an incredible team backstage, and I'm going to bring them up with me. But this is about owning your life. This is about taking back everything that anybody has tried to take from you and living your life to the fullest. So I'm so excited to be with you here this morning, and I'm so excited to bring out my team is Nathaniel Ross. He's the money man. He's wealth management and getting your financial house in order. I have Elaine Scales with me this morning, and she is all about mindfulness, getting that centeredness in your life, and getting that tranquility going on so that you can handle all the things that life throws in your direction in a more effective and peaceful manner. That is my girl. I'll tell you that she's the spa treatment for the professional and beyond. Then I have Dr. Reed, who is Own It's May magazine cover girl. We are so excited to have her here with you today. And she's going a little deeper in all of the things that you should be finding out about your mental health and your physical health. And so we are taking center stage and owning it this morning on It's Your Life, Own It. This is all about self awareness. Self development should lead you to a place of self mastery, not perfection, but knowing how to navigate through this thing called life. And so we are on motherhood. So yesterday was Mother's Day. So shout out to the moms. We're still celebrating you. Happy Mother's Day. So share a little bit about what you guys did on Mother's Day. Did you just relax, or were you a workaholic or working, loving it kind of woman like me yesterday?
Hmm. I guess I'll start. So it's absolutely awesome to meet you, Nathaniel and Elaine. Marissa, we are becoming close friends. So it's an honor to be here with you today. Yesterday, all I did was kind of do more of what I always do. Mother's Day for me is every day because I'm giving love every day. I'm receiving it every day. So having one day set aside is pretty cool, but it's not necessary. So I did what I wanted to do. I gardened and I cleaned out my garage.
Oh, nice,
But
nice.
I did go to a beautiful brunch on Saturday with my daughter. She took me to Clifton Mansion. It was a beautiful, beautiful brunch. And I will see my sons who live out of state this week. So again, my Mother's Day is going to be extended, but it is 365 for me.
Hello, my point exactly. My point
Yeah.
exactly. So Elaine, you're up.
Yes, well, thank you for being, allowing me to be here, Dr. Reed and Nathaniel. It's always great to meet new people and reconnect. And of course, Marisa, it's just great to be in your presence as always. And I'm like Dr. Reed, Mother's Day for me is every day. My children, I have two adult daughters, they make a point to honor me in a variety of ways. And so it was really good. To have that time where the three of us just actually spent some time in each other's presence without the busyness of other activities. And it was just great. It's really wonderful to experience our children as adults.
Mm.
That's a different level. And I've always said about my children, I love them because they're my children, but I like them. I like
Yes.
them as individuals and human beings. I like the way their minds think and process. And so any opportunity for me to sit down in their presence and learn from them, and to get a different perspective it's always a blessing, one that I am extremely grateful for.
It is. If you know what, if moms can slow down,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
know in our communities, when we have our children, and it varies, but most of the time, for the most part, we're always talked about as children being a burden,
Mm.
financial burden. You never can have any time to yourself and things like that. And we really miss it. And what
Mhm.
I'm thankful is even though I started early, I'm glad I did because I got to enjoy my kids at every level. I just found something fun and fascinating about my kids. But I flipped. So when I was younger, I used to do front walkovers. I used to do flips down the street. I could do 25 flips from from standing still, I could do 25 backflips, and I used to flip
Mhm.
up and down the street. Just all over the place, a lot of energy, and so I found it fun at every stage of development with my children. Did I have challenges? Yeah, but I had more fun with my kids than I had challenges with them, and really got a chance to enjoy them. And when you say, Elaine, to sit back and just watch them be women, it's so nice. It is a beautiful thing to really get a chance to see them do. And so, and I got a little bit in. I didn't go to a brunch. I was freaking out yesterday. I was like having a cake attack, and I wanted a little cake yesterday, and was trying to. Here in the Dominican Republic, mm, you got to find a real bakery to get like real, like cakes or something like that. Their biggest thing here is those little cookies, like either like an Oreo type cookie or something like that. But I love cake, and so that was the one thing I missed this weekend was I didn't have access to. I had a sweet tooth and didn't have access to some cake. But I digress to say I did get a little planting in. I made some plants I did some planting here. I can't see if you can see my plant. No, I think the curtain is hiding. But I got some plants. I did some planting. I stole some from on the property and replanted them. Well, I had permission, but I did that. So I did get a little Mother's Day in. But my kids are grown. Our kids are grown, and for the most part, and we can have that time back to ourselves to do. But we're still models to them. We're still role models to them, even though they're teaching us some things. We're still role models to them. And I believe Nathaniel and I were talking about last week about how it's so important for moms to have their house in order, financial order. Nathaniel gave us a list. I don't know what happened to my list. And Nathaniel, I think that's in the attachments that you sent to me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to print that list out. But he gave a list that gave you an aha moment of what you really need to have in order for your house to be in order. And if these things are not in order, you need to get them in order. Share a little bit, Nathaniel. I know you have some things on your heart too, but share with the moms why it's so important for us to have our financial house in order and how it blesses our children and also speaks to our mental health.
Okay, so I agree with all of you in that I hear mothers say, I'm a mom, 365, and that's absolutely true. And as a society, we tend to give a holiday a week or a month of celebration for Black History Month or a day for Mother's Day, right? And first, let's not get caught up in that stuff. Let's look at the reality of what's really there. You're a mother 365, right?
Mhm.
And it is so important, especially as moms, because moms are the nesters. Moms are the ones who really take care of the family. Um, and if you can only look at yourself one day out of the week and celebrate that, there's something wrong. And
Mhm.
there's something
Mhm.
wrong from a male perspective if we're
Mhm.
only celebrating you one day, one day a year, where we pull out and the flowers and the gifts and take you to dinner and it's like, yeah, but one day a year for everything that you do all year long? Come on,
Mhm.
it just doesn't make any sense. We got to get away from that kind of stuff. As it relates, and as I said, moms are the centers of the family, right?
Mhm.
Um, Men bring the tone to the relationships. Women set the environments, and as you create the home, and as you do that magic that you do with the family, women are nesters for the most part. They want to know that their house is in order, that they're taken care of. Um, so it is extremely important to have your finances in order because the last thing that you want to do is have the everyday pressures of being a mom, that nucleus, uh,
Mhm.
and then have financial burden on top. And most people don't understand that finances is a weight. it
Mhm.
weighs you down, and it creates a lot of stress, and stress creates disease.
Mhm.
And as well, it creates mental anguish.
Mhm.
So why would we do that to as a family? Why would we let that happen to our mothers? So it's extremely important that we get finances in order. I think that in the partnership, if there's a partnership, the man and the woman should be working on that together. Uh, Whoever is strongest suited for it should take the lead, but it
Mhm.
should be a joint project if you're together as a couple. I know a lot of women defer to men, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that women do in finances is that they defer. And it's nothing wrong with deferring as long as you're kept in the know and you're knowledgeable. But
Right.
when you defer and you don't know,
Mhm.
and if the relationship ends because the spouse dies or because you go through a divorce, now you're screwed.
Mhm.
So it's extremely important that that women understand the finances for the household.
Yes, that is. I mean, you
Mhm.
nailed it on the head. And
Mhm.
I think Dr. Reed and I had that conversation a little bit this morning about
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
importance of a financial house being in order. And it takes you always speak to this, Nathaniel, about how it's important for self accountability. That you are accountable to yourself, and that you make the responsible decisions that will lead you to financial stability. That means that you have to go without, but it's not really going without, right? But
Mhm.
how did you put that before? It's not really going without. It's actually doing.
Within.
You don't have
From
to go
within.
without later on,
Yeah.
but it really,
Mhm.
really matters the most.
Yeah,
So I want to shift gears and speak a little bit more towards how that impacts you. I want to diverse to Dr. Reed, because I know you were sitting on the edge of your seat when he talked about how finances hit you in the place of disease. And then
Yeah.
I want Elaine, if you would speak to how it messes with your, I know Dr. Reed, you can talk about this as well, but how it hits you emotionally and how you are processing that. And then I want to flip the gears and I want to not only talk about the issue, I want to talk about ways of overcoming the issue as well. So, Dr.
Mhm.
Speak to how that transitions, how money matters actually transition into what's going on in your physical body when it said when you're talking about disease and sicknesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, money matters is all about energy. Money is a sense is a position is a currency, and it flows freely or it flows or it doesn't flow because there is a stagnation. That stagnation creates a sense of fear. We have this fear of our financial health because it's kind of a taboo. You don't want to look at it, you don't want to see it. But if you have that stance on money, then you're dismissive with every aspect of your life, and you're dismissing and you're repressing a lot of other things. That repression in itself creates stagnation of energy, and stagnant energy slows down your chi and messes with your meridians. And before you know it, you have all these problems. So, for instance, fear of some people actually have a fear of success. Like they have this business idea, they want to do this, they want to do that, but they fear, but I don't want to. That resistance in itself, born of fear, will cause a kidney problem. Traditional
Mm-hmm.
medicine, Chinese 101, fear goes in the kidneys. Now, we know this intrinsically because how many times have you said to yourself, or you've watched it on television and it's a comedic relief, I was so scared I almost peed on myself, right? There is truth to that. So when you understand that your fear of money has that much power in the global aspect of your life, you can expect to have physiological manifestations. If you are actually not feeling comfortable about your finances, it could cause a let's talk about mothers. It can cause a reproductive problem. Like, how is that? Because your reproductions is in your base root chakra, color red, raw today. And if there's a stagnation there, then your creativity is not going to be able to flow. And your acquisition of money is all about you being creative enough to be resourceful enough to acquire it. So if we're not open to receiving that flow of how money comes in, our whole body becomes a blockade of energy. It can affect your heart, it can affect your lungs. When you have a grief problem, fear problem, that will affect the lungs. If you have an anger problem, it will affect your heart. If you're angry about your finances, if you're grieving the loss of not being able to get what you think you should have, it will definitely have an effect on all aspect of you physiologically, but it's all about energy. And if we understand that money is a currency that flows, it's an energy experience, then you understand why your body will shut down. So when you really want to get healthy, you assess your spiritual health, your mental health, because that will tell you why your physical health went left. Right. And if you have a money problem as a mom, you will also have these physiological manifestations. And most people in our age will say, oh, that's just menopause, or that's just aging. But the truth is, this is an energetic problem, right? A truly energetic problem. And it sounds kind of airy fairy, but you cannot override universal principles and universal laws. These laws are set in stone and you cannot change them. Because you don't know them doesn't mean that they don't exist, right? But you have to be clear of what these universal principles are so you can operate in that flow, so you can be healthy financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Wow. Wow. And that's why this is why we do this show. This is
Mhm.
why It's Your Life, Own It was created. Is that stop running from yourself. The biggest issue you have is stop running from yourself. Stop avoiding you. I
Self
said
sabotage.
listen, the one variable that will never change is you. You cannot take you out of the
The
equation.
equation.
So no
Yeah.
matter where you go, what environment you are, the people that are around you, one thing you have to master is know thyself. Know what makes you tick, what makes you ticks you off. Know your triggers. Um, be able to self-evaluate. And I know that it is the most difficult thing to do, but it doesn't have to be the most difficult. It's the most difficult because you're making that decision. It does not have to be. I like this one author. I was doing an interview many years ago on BKS1 Radio out of New York, New Jersey, and wrote a book called Life is Not Complicated, You Are. And that is so powerful in what that just simple statement, but it is profound. So Elaine, I'm going to digress and I'm going to let you come in about how this whole thing starts processing once you're in the experience.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And yes, both Nathaniel and Dr. Reed made some very essential and critical points. And the other thing that I'd like to add to that is we have to take the time, we have to slow down, right? We have to be still long enough to really sort of take a look at why we are operating the way we are operating. And a lot of that has to do, particularly with finances, is the money messages that we have received
Mhm.
throughout our lives. And it has been, those messages have formulated our belief system, right? And so we're operating a lot of times
Mhm.
without fully understanding what we believe about money and where it comes from. We know that there's, like Dr. Reed said, there's fear. We also know, like what Nathaniel said, is our lack of knowledge, right? But all of that is stands on top of our fundamental belief about money and the money messages. And so Dr. Reed was really clear about how it lives in the kidneys and how it manifests into disease. But here's what we know that emotions live in the body. So by the time our organs are impacted, those emotions have been within us for
Whoa.
quite a bit, right? And so
Yep.
we have kept moving through anxiety. We have kept
Mhm.
moving with
Mhm.
depression, and not necessarily clinical depression, right? There are many forms of depression long before it gets to a clinical aspect. So
Mhm.
we're dealing with all of these emotions that just linger in our bodies. And so we have to be able to first, we have to be able to identify the money messages that we've received. Secondly, we have to identify what those messages and how we have subscribed to those beliefs, and those beliefs have dictated how we move.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving through life without understanding what we believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can recognize the what I call surface beliefs. I believe
Mm-hmm.
in being a good person. I believe in loving and offering kindness. I believe in God. I believe in all of these things. But when we dig down a little deeper, we have to take a look at what we really, really believe.
Mm-hmm.
And those beliefs impact the decisions that we make. We get into relationships, we defer, right? We operate from a place of fear, and we live in that fear, and pretty soon that fear no longer is an emotional sensation within us,
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
we have become accustomed to that fear, and now
Mm-hmm.
we're operating from life as living life from a normal place, and that normal place is now fear, right? And it's the unknown. So there are all of these factors that both Nathaniel and Dr. Reed have, very beautifully pointed out. Well, let's dig a little deeper and see where those beliefs come from. Let's
Mm-hmm.
dig a little deeper and see that, oh, before I get a headache, my muscles tense up.
Mm-hmm.
There's this sort of tingling running through our bodies. There's this
Mm-hmm.
sensation we're experiencing in our
Mm-hmm.
stomach. And so that's very critical. And that's generally the first step, but that's the first step that we often miss.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
good.
I mean, I would comment because you guys are so on point. What and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, because this is something that we dwell in every day in our lives, right? So this is all. I love this stuff. But as I'm
We
sitting
all do.
But as I'm sitting here listening to Dr. Reed, I'm thinking, oh, the wall goes up. For most people, she started talking, and I'm thinking, oh, the wall went up. And did people really get the message that she just delivered? Because
Mhm.
people, they put that wall up as soon as they hear that type of language come out, because they don't understand it. And the same with the message that Elaine is giving. But people, when you come to me and talk about being successful and talk to me about finances, what we're talking about right now is finances.
Yes, it is.
You have to understand that there's a spiritual and energetic side to it. If you
Yes.
don't deal with that, the money's never going to materialize.
Never gonna come.
You know,
Never gonna come.
a great
Yeah.
my heart
So,
right.
so listen, we know that this has to be that this has to unfold. For those, and like I said in the group, I said, whosoever will, let him come. I said that's the same thing. When you're hearing, the Bible says, don't be hearers only, but be
The
doers
doers.
also, lest
Right.
you deceive yourself. See, that's the thing, is
Yeah.
lest you deceive your own self. This is
Mm-hmm.
about the level of revelation you want to operate in. How
Mm-hmm.
higher, listen, how did Morpheus say? You want to take the red or the blue pill?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to keep like the guy said, I know this steak ain't real, but you know what? I'd rather live the false life than deal
Mm-hmm.
with the reality. And that's what he was saying. That's
Mm-hmm.
the choice he chose. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? His end was his end. And like you said, Dr. Reed, whether he believed it, not, knew it or not, his end was coming. No matter
Mm-hmm.
what. He
Mm-hmm.
believed what we call a stronghold. He
Yeah.
believed the lie as a truth. And so
Yeah.
before we leave out, because we're gonna close out, well, everybody's got somewhere to go today. So that's why it's so important for you to chime in and make sure you're paying attention. Sometimes we'll go long and then sometimes we'll go short because we do things outside of these
Mm-hmm.
lives. We go out,
Mm-hmm.
we do this work that we're talking to you about. And so
Yeah.
I want to make sure you have, as the audience, have an opportunity to work with each one of us differently. You already know how to get in touch with me. My name and my Own It magazine is plastered everywhere. Nathaniel, will you let them know how they can connect with you and your legacy work, and Dr. Reed and Elaine? You're up afterwards.
Well, I run a nonprofit, abundancelegacy.org is the website. And people can reach me at nathaniel.ross@abundancelegacy.org.
Awesome. And he has some programs. So you want to get in touch with him through his nonprofit, but he has a plethora of programs that you can get in touch with him and begin this financial journey. But you need everybody on this on this platform in order for you to do this thing, for you to shift and get reconditioned. You need all of them. So Dr. Reed, you're up.
You know, you brought out scripture, and it's hard not to piggyback on that because that is a foundational point to exist in. Whatever scripture or spiritual conviction you have, you must stand on it. So I want to add in that be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And this is a mindset thing. You have to say to yourself, the pain that I'm feeling is outweighing my pleasure. I need help. So if whether it's help through Nathaniel or Elaine or myself, this is a mindset shift that must happen before you can have the life that you want to own. So in order to connect with me, it's easy to find. My practice is called Your Healing Place. And I am Dr. Stephanie, YHP.com. That's how you can find me. But I also want to offer that I do coaching. I am a naturopath. So there's various ways that I can help you spirit, mind, and body that's different from what you're used to. So if you want to understand why your health is not doing what it needs to do, get a hair tissue analysis. Allow us to look at your biochemistry so we can see what's creating this problem for you from a spiritual as well as a mineral balance. And always look at ways to change your mindset. I have a program called Unclocking Your Creative Purpose, and I am available to speak to anyone for free for a whole hour doing my strategy session. So if you want a free strategy session, just go to drstephanieyhp.com, click the button, and you're in. So thank you for having me, Marissa, Nathaniel, Elaine. It was amazing to meet you. I can't wait for us to work together because we should. We have to.
We got to do this thing. So Elaine.
Great. Well, thank you very much. If you want to reach me, you can go to edsintegrative.com. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/edsintegrative. I also have a community of like-minded individuals who are looking for a safe space where they can unmask and be still, to connect to the fire that's really burning within you. It is the Emerging Lotus community. You can also find that on my website under community. And you can also email me if you'd like at edsintegrative@outlook.com.
Awesome. So with that being said, we just want to say have an incredible week. This has been an incredible power half-hour session. And we're just excited. You're at the top of the week. And I hope and pray that our words inspire you to take center stage and own it. We're out until next Monday. Take care, be blessed, have a prosperous and a well-being week.